Hi, this is Helen with the Better Half blog. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about budgeting and how I'm using my Hobonichi Weeks. And no, I'm not using the everyday carry that's still in here. And I am using an additional Hobonichi Weeks to track my variable spendings. And let me show you how I get that done. So before we get started, I just want you to know that I do have a spread in my computer, which I use for tracking all my bills, payments, and my overall budget for the month. And the way I do it is I break it up into two budgets throughout the month. And I got this method from the Budget Mom. If you don't follow her, make sure you do, because she is amazing. She has an amazing method that works every single time for me. And hopefully it'll work for you if you are looking for a different budget method. And she also sells her own budget books, which I used to use until last year. And so this year I'm migrating everything over to my spread on my computer, as well as my Hobonichi Weeks, to track down what I spent on variable expenses so that I don't go over budget at any given month. So first of all, let's remove some of the stuff out of the way, and I will share with you why I have this cash laying around at this table. How I've been using this is that I have my everyday carry, and so let's start from the top. I go out shopping, and I have these receipts I've collected. I come home every single day. I come home and take it out of my everyday carry wallet. I'm going into my Hobonichi Weeks on the day that I spent the money, and whether I spent it with using bank account or cash or credit card, I am listing them here. And I put it into my variable spending tracker. And that's what I call it, because I like to track down my spending so that I am always staying within my budget. And so I started this on the 1st of December, and I tried to play around with it to see how it'll work for me the best way. And let's go into the monthly calendar here. So what I've done here in December was listed out all of my bills, all of my fixed expenses, things that must go out in order for our house to have peace here. So everything is listed here. I've also listed two services that I do receive throughout the month are the pool service and the lawn service. I do have pest control that comes out once every 2 months, yes. And so I also have that listed out here as well on those months. And so pool, every time they come, I just check it off to track down, that they did come. I have wonderful people working for me, and so I know that they're coming, but on certain holidays, for example, on the 25th, which is just yesterday, they did not come because obviously it's Christmas. And so I sent them a nice little Merry Christmas, and knew that I had to pay $40 less for going into January to pay this for these services. And so I have that here. In January, I've already started doing that, listing out all of my bills and fixed expenses, all my subscriptions, everything goes in here so that I could see at a glance when I open this up what bills were paid and not paid. And the way I can see that is I highlight every time the bill has been paid. So not necessarily that it was cleared off my bank account, because I track that in my spread in my computer. But every time I make the payment, or I schedule out the payment, or I know that it's on auto pay, I just highlight it using any highlighter that I have in hand. And I just highlight it to make sure that I covered and paid everybody that I need to pay. And so I've done that. So everything is paid here on this month for December. And then obviously in January, I have nothing paid. I get paid on the 1st and the 15th. And so whatever bills from the 1st all the way to the 15th, it gets paid with that paycheck. 16th through the end of the month, at any given month, I use the second paycheck to pay all those fixed expenses. There's a second part to my budget, which is also my variable spending. So anything like house, I have my Mrs. Myers here, my cleaning products, laundry detergent, paper towel, toilet paper, those are all house stuff spending. And then I have my beauty, which is my facial stuff, my anything that has to do with hair, like shampoo or anything like that is in the beauty category. I have food, a grocery, that is all in one category. I do have fun in a separate category, and what fun is like when I go out to an ice cream shop with my kids, or I go out for coffee on the way to work. That goes into my fun category because I like to track things like that because I want to know how much I'm spending on fun, how much am I spending on clothes, on kids, throughout the year. And so I have different categories that fits my lifestyle and how I want to track my spending. Now, with everyone's budget and finances is so personal that you probably have your own categories of how you want to track down how much you're spending in a given month or per paycheck. And so everyone has a different category for it. So that's how I have the monthly calendar set up. Now let's go into the weeklies. So in the week, I have it broken down into 3 categories here. So here I have my bank, every transaction that comes out of my bank account. And I have 2 bank accounts listed here that I typically use for transactions. And then I have my cash, and then I have my credit card. So any of the credit cards that I typically use for points that I used on that particular day goes here. So on this week, as you can see, I didn't have any spending. Great. It wasn't intentional, but I always like that. On this week, I had a couple of spending in my variables, except they were all from my bank account. So I have it all listed here. And on the side here, I have my variable spending tracker. I should really put variable here. Variable spending tracker. All my bills are tracked, again, in my spread in my computer, and my variables are collected here. So all the data comes in every single day with these receipts. So I have spent some money. I come home that day and I just write down what category it is in parentheses, how much it was, and where I spent it. And that helps me once a week or once every 15 days before the paycheck budget is over to come and jot down what bank account I used, what credit card I used, the description, Amazon Japan would go here, category, and the amount. And I tally it all up and I say variable expenses. I put bills here, but really I'm not tracking that here anymore because it's just redundant because I use my spread on my computer. So variable spending, I spent $594.20 for this paycheck. Great. And that amount now goes into my spread on my computer to tell me, okay, well, you allocated $1,000, for example, for variable spending on this paycheck, and you only used $594.20. So the remaining $400 and some odd change is going to go into savings somewhere. So whether I put it into my kids' education fund or another sinking fund that I want to fill up, or any kind of future, big savings that I got started, that money will go into there. Now, so let's go to the second paycheck. So from the 15th to the end of the month, I have my variable spending tracker here, which is at the end right here. And so I have all of the current listed spending. I started jotting them down here because I'm getting ready to close out this budget on the 31st. And so on this day, let's go into, so this is a bank account charge. So I tally it up by the week, $199. Credit card, I spent $351.32. I broken it down into different categories that I want to track down and see how much I spent. So food, I spent that much, another food transaction, and then house. So this credit card, every time I pay it off, I just highlight it. My bank account, I highlight it as soon as I see it clear, or I know that it's going to clear because I start seeing the pending charge, right? So here I had my budget again written down, but I'm not going to be using Hobonichi Weeks for this because it's in my spread on my computer. I have here on this week, we're on a Saturday now, we've spent some debit card transactions and some credit card transactions, and it's kind of spilled over to the cash category. So what I decided for the following month, I'm no longer going to have this cash category here just because I am not really using cash anymore. I use credit card for a lot of points, and then I use the bank account for, various things that are already linked to my whatever apps I'm spending the money for. So like with Costco, my bank account is already linked with it. And so I just leave it as that. I suppose I can go and put my credit card in there so I could get additional points, but it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so here on the 24th, I did some Christmas shopping. And so we went to Target, and that was the only thing that was open during the hour that we went on Christmas Eve to grab some food, last minute Christmas stuff, and a little bit of gifts that was, last minute stuff. And so I spent $405. Now, that Target card is not a credit card. It's actually a debit card that's linked with my bank account. I don't know if you guys know about that, but I didn't find that out until one of the clerks told me. So I did that right away. And you get 5% off. So that's bigger than my credit card kickback, which is like 1% to 2% at different, with different credit cards. And so I decided to go with that. So I got 5% off, and it became $405. Now, this is why I have the cash. So throughout the year, I have what's called a sinking fund, and I got this from the Budget Mom also. And what I do is because on holidays like Christmas, there's typically a lot more spending than my typical budget in any given month. So what I do is I know how much I'm going to be spending just looking at the year before how much I spent at Christmas. So just being realistic here, I start saving up throughout the year to have that cash ready. And so whether I use my credit card or my bank account, it doesn't matter. I have the cash saved up for it. So this is what's left over from the cash that I already deposited to pay off my credit card for my Christmas gifts that I ordered back in October, November, and beginning of December. So this is what's left. And we have $405.45 that was spent for Christmas. Now what I'm going to do, because this is a bank account charge, I am going to deposit $406, let's round it up, and deposit that into my bank account, and it'll cover that Christmas charge. So that's how I have my sinking fund set up. Now with the credit card, again, this is a Christmas party, and so it has to do with holiday. It's going to come out of this cash. So $75.44, I already paid it off through my bank account. And now all I'm going to do is add that $76 to the 405 or 406 and deposit that amount into the bank account because I already paid this. So that's how I have that set up. I have some open issues written down because you get these empty grids on the side each week. And so I used one of the empty grids to kind of jot down throughout the month the open issues. Now I only had one, and it's a good one. So I'm paying a little less attention to it. So I bought this vacuum from Amazon on the 19th, and it still did not post on my credit card. And it's driving me crazy, but it's okay because, So I'm just making sure I went back in to make sure it was charged with my Amazon card and not my other credit cards. And it was, but it still did not post on my Amazon credit card. And so I'm just like, oh, what's going on? So I couldn't pay that off because it's not there. So I have that open issue written down here. So in case it posts like in January, all of a sudden, then I know what that was for. And I don't have to go back to all my bank account transactions to find out, like, did it come out or did it not come out? I already have it written down here. So this is not highlighted because it's not paid yet. Okay, so I'm just waiting for it to post. It was on the 24th, 23rd, the spending, and it was holiday here, and so it didn't post yet. So as soon as that posts, I'm going to pay that off. So my spending tracker for the last half of the month is for my second paycheck. I'm writing down everything that I've listed here into one. So I could do this. I don't have to do this on a daily basis. I could do this, like at the end when I'm closing out this particular budget, this second paycheck budget. So that's how I'm using this, and I hope this helped. I'm not sure if I was organized enough for you to understand, just because I just started using my Hobonichi Weeks as well for my budgeting. And so breaking it down into here and between here and my computer spread, it's been really, really easy for me to just spend the first 5 minutes as soon as I get up and I sit on my work desk to just organize my finances and make sure all my bills are paid. So that's how I have it. If you have any questions for me, list them down in the comment section. And otherwise, happy budgeting. I hope you start off the new year strong with great intentions with your money, because I realize that it's not so much how much we make, but a lot of the times it's how we manage our money that's so important to, building a better future for us and our families. And that's about it from me. Bye.